Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today, we're zeroing in on a question that's likely on many investors' minds. Is Apple a good time to buy now? We've sifted through a mountain of sources, everything from SEC filings, analyst reports, market data, you name it. Our aim is to give you a comprehensive picture of where Apple stands right now, to pull out the most important insights so you can feel truly well-informed. As we get into this, please remember to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And hey, if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into next, just drop it in the comments below.
Absolutely. And what we're aiming to do today is connect all these different data points. It's like putting together pieces of a puzzle, really, to build a much clearer picture of Apple as an investment opportunity. We'll explore its underlying financial strength, look at what the stock chart is telling us, break down the latest news, identify what's coming up next, and critically, weigh the potential risks.
All right, let's open up Apple's books then. Talk about its financial engine. It's a powerhouse, no doubt, but what's the latest story these numbers are telling us about its growth? Looking at their fiscal year 2024, top-line sales just nudged over $385 billion.
Just nudged, yeah. A moderate increase.
Exactly. Especially for a company this size, it suggests a steady rather than, explosive growth phase. But here's where it really shines. Their unwavering profitability.
Right, the margins.
We're seeing gross margins consistently holding strong around 44%, and net income for FY 2024 nearing $97 billion. That's significant. And crucially, their latest quarterly EPS for Q3 2025 at $1.35 actually beat analyst expectations.
It did, which was a nice surprise for the market.
So considering these figures, what's your take on Apple's future growth trajectory? Are these numbers sustainable? Or something else driving this?
That's the critical question, isn't it? While those Q3 numbers were definitely positive, the consensus from analysts points to a more moderate path ahead. We're generally looking at mid-single-digit annual EPS growth through fiscal year 2026.
Mid-single digits, okay.
And what's truly driving this isn't necessarily surging hardware sales anymore. It feels like a strategic pivot.
How so?
The key accelerators are the continued expansion of their services segment. Think App Store, iCloud, Apple Music, all that. And, importantly, a management team actively boosting EPS through aggressive share repurchases.
Ah, the buybacks.
Exactly. It signals a mature company optimizing for profit and shareholder returns rather than solely chasing unit volume growth like in the past.
That shift is significant. Mid-single-digit growth for Apple now. That's quite different from its hypergrowth days, isn't it?
Totally different era.
But beyond just earnings, how robust is the engine under the hood? Let's talk balance sheet. How are they managing all that cash and debt? As of Q3 2025, they had around, $9.9 billion in short-term commercial paper.
Yeah, they often roll over for liquidity. Standard practice.
And on the longer-term side, about $91 billion in fixed-rate notes. But here's the standout figure.
A cash pile.
A whopping $59 billion in cash and investments. And what really jumps out is their commitment to shareholders. They repurchased over 200 million shares.
For a massive $48.3 billion in the first half of fiscal year 2025 alone.
Incredible. Plus, their free cash flow consistently exceeds $100 billion annually.
Yeah. When we connect this to the bigger picture, that substantial capital return program and the robust free cash flow, it truly highlights a management team deeply committed to shareholder value, even as the company's overall growth moderates.
Right.
Now, some might argue, that massive buybacks in a moderating growth environment could signal a lack of compelling new investment opportunities. Is that a fair criticism?
That's a good point. It's definitely something investors watch. A double-edged sword, perhaps. Now, when we talk about Apple, we have to talk about its almost legendary dominant position.
A moat.
Exactly. What's the secret sauce that makes them so strong, and where are they expanding next? They really do hold a dominant share in premium smartphones and tablets, fueled by incredible brand loyalty, that tightly integrated ecosystem we all know.
And those famously high switching costs once you're in the Apple ecosystem.
You're really in. It's hard to leave. And that services segment, including the App Store and Apple Music, now contributes over 20% of their total revenues.
Which is crucial because it's high-margin, recurring income. Very sticky revenue.
Definitely. On the innovation front, they're always pushing with things like Apple Silicon, the Vision Pro, that ongoing AI integration.
All designed to keep them differentiated, to keep that premium edge.
But here's the flip side. Their heavy dependency on hardware means they're still exposed to product replacement cycles and, intense competition.
Which leads to a key consideration for investors, right? Can their services growth truly offset the inherent cyclicality and, let's face it, potential saturation we see in the hardware market?
That's a billion-dollar question, maybe trillion-dollar.
Maybe. While the innovation focus is clear, the real value lies in how effectively that robust ecosystem can continue to monetize its massive installed device base, essentially turning every user into a recurring revenue stream. It's a strategic shift, and its success is paramount.
Absolutely. So let's shift from the fundamentals to the market's pulse. What has Apple's stock been doing recently? What are the charts telling us about investor sentiment? Over the past month, Apple has traded within a fairly tight range, roughly $215 to $232.
Pretty contained, yeah.
As of September 10th, 2025, it closed near $226.79. We're seeing solid support forming around that $215 to $218 level.
Which represents some recent multi-week lows, a floor perhaps.
And on the upside, resistance sits between $232 and $235, where it's encountered previous highs. Its 50-day moving average is close to $224, with the 200-day average around $210.
So technically above both key moving averages.
Right. It paints a picture of an ongoing bullish trend, but it's clearly been consolidating just below its all-time highs. What do you make of this technical landscape?
When I look at the charts, it's almost like Apple stock is taking a deep breath right now.
A deep breath. I like that.
The underlying trend is still bullish, sure, but this recent consolidation phase tells me investors are essentially on pause, waiting for that next big jolt, that clear catalyst to push it higher.
So a healthy pause, not a warning sign.
Feels like a healthy pause, not panic. Both the relative strength index, the RSI, and the MCD indicator are in neutral territory, suggesting a balanced rather than overheated market. And with low to moderate volatility, it's pretty typical for a large-cap tech stock like Apple. Reflects confidence in its underlying stability, I think.
That's a great way to put it, a deep breath. Okay, beyond the charts, what's the buzz from insiders and the professional analyst community? We did see some insider selling. Deirdre O'Brien, a senior VP, sold over 34,000 shares in early August.
Right, but context is key there.
Exactly. Our sources indicate this was part of a prearranged 10b5-1 plan.
Which is very common for executives. Planned diversification, managing their own holdings, not usually a signal about the company's immediate prospects.
Right. In fact, overall, insider activity has mostly been routine, tied to vesting restricted stock units or planned diversification. Not really discretionary selling. That might signal, a lack of confidence.
Agreed.
And when we look at the analyst community, most major firms still have buy or outperform readings.
Target prices generally ranging from $240 to $260. Based on recent reports.
There is some measured caution, though. A few analysts talking about hardware saturation and maybe muted consumer demand.
Which is fair, given the macro environment and the maturity of the smartphone market.
But no major downgrades since the Q3 earnings back in July.
So the natural next step for an investor is to consider how much weight to give those routine insider sales versus the broader analyst sentiment. In Apple's case, like we said, these planned sales rarely signal a fundamental shift. They're just part of personal financial planning.
Makes sense.
The more telling sign is the overall consensus from the analyst community, which, despite some pockets of caution, remains largely positive.
All right, now this is where it gets really interesting. Catalysts. What has truly fueled Apple's recent performance, and what should investors be watching for, near and long term? Let's quickly recap the last 3 months. We saw a blockbuster September, didn't we?
Huge product launch month.
The launch of the new iPhone Air thinner design, enhanced performance alongside new flagship iPhones, Apple Watch updates, AirPods Pro 3.
The whole lineup refresh, and it sparked significant pre-order demand, apparently.
Then in August, Apple delivered surprisingly strong Q3 earnings, revenue up nearly 10% year-on-year.
And iPhone revenue hit a record for the quarter, which was impressive. Services and Mac sales, also key contributors.
That strong report, coupled with all the product rumors swirling around, led to a spike in trading volume, showed intensified interest.
Definitely got the market's attention.
And back in June, the Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC, really put Apple's AI strategy into the spotlight.
Which led to some positive technical shifts in the stock after some earlier volatility around AI expectations.
Although we should note there was that investor lawsuit in June alleging Apple misled on its AI-powered Siri updates integration timeline. Adds a layer of scrutiny there.
True. Legal overhangs are always something to watch with big tech.
Okay, now, looking ahead, next 3 months. Several key short-term catalysts on the horizon. October 7th could bring some volatility, Apple's inclusion in major ETF rebalancing.
Index funds adjusting their holdings, yeah, can move the needle short term.
October 24th, we'll get a holiday season iPhone demand report, always critical.
Huge indicator for the holiday quarter.
November 12th, we'll reveal large institutional 13F filings. We'll see their Q3 accumulations. Who's been buying?
Always interesting to see what the big money is doing.
And November 19th is a big one. The Q4 2025 earnings release, historically a key volatility event for Apple.
Absolutely. Guidance will be crucial too.
Finally, December 10th should bring year-end guidance and maybe a product roadmap update. Longer term, we're looking at continued services growth.
Successful Vision Pro adoption, still early days, but important.
And ongoing, tangible AI integration. That seems to be the structural driver for the next few years.
Plus, you always have those speculative catalysts, right? Rumors about accelerated AI in iPhone 16, potential major services partnerships, maybe even a China rebound.
Always something bubbling under the surface with Apple.
The interesting takeaway here is just the sheer number of moving pieces influencing the stock. The near-term trajectory, especially, will lean heavily on how well that new iPhone Air sells, those institutional flows we mentioned, and concrete progress on AI.
Things people can actually see and touch with AI, not just promises.
Exactly. And critically, Apple's holiday quarter performance is going to be paramount. It often sets the tone for the entire year ahead. You'll definitely want to watch those earnings closely.
Absolutely, the holidays are always huge for them. Now, balance. No investment discussion is complete without addressing the potential pitfalls. Risks.
Gotta talk risks.
What are the key ones for Apple investors to keep in mind? First, stock-specific. Product concentration.
Still heavily reliant on the iPhone, over 50% of revenue.
Leaves them exposed to upgrade cycle risks, right? If people hold on to phones longer.
It impacts the numbers directly. Then there's supply chain exposure.
Big one. Geopolitical tensions. Regions like Taiwan, China. Apple's own filings explicitly state that political instability, trade restrictions, could materially disrupt operations.
It's a constant background risk for any global manufacturer, especially one with operations centered there.
And finally, innovation pace. Failure to maintain that competitive edge, especially in AI, wearables, could certainly impact future profitability if they fall behind.
Competitors aren't standing still.
Definitely not. Beyond the company itself, there are broader market and sector risks. Apple is sensitive to global macro conditions, consumer spending, FX volatility.
And it's subject to the tech sector's cyclicality, of course.
Furthermore, regulatory threats persist. EU, US scrutiny of the App Store, privacy, potential for forced platform changes. Those are medium to long-term sector risks.
That brings us to a crucial point. How much are these significant risks already priced into the stock?
Good question.
While substantial, Apple has historically shown a remarkable ability to navigate complex environments. The key for you, the investor, is continually monitoring how these risks evolve and assessing their potential impact against Apple's proven resilience and strategic responses. It's a dynamic landscape, not static.
So after weighing all these factors, the robust financials, the market signals, those exciting catalysts, and the very real risks, what's the final assessment? Our sources give an overall rating of 7.5 out of 10.
Pretty good, but not perfect. Reflects that balance.
Exactly. The rating is underpinned by undeniable strengths: cash flow powerhouse, best-in-class margins, aggressive capital returns, durable competitive advantages, ecosystem, brand, R&D scale.
All the classic Apple strengths.
But there are also clear challenges. Near-term growth expected to be moderate, hardware saturation concerns, ongoing regulatory pressures. And while services and new products like Vision Pro offer upside, execution risks always persist with new ventures.
Especially something as ambitious as Vision Pro.
In terms of valuation, Apple's current P/E ratio, near 29x trailing EPS as of September 2025, that positions it at a premium.
Premium to its own history and most large-cap peers, yeah.
Arguably justified by the company's quality, but it does limit potential upside if macro or product cycles disappoint. Less room for error at that valuation.
Fair point.
So, boiling this down, what's the upshot for someone considering an investment right now?
Well, if we connect all these threads, Apple generally looks better suited for long-term investment rather than short-term trading in this current market context.
Why is that?
It's largely due to those stable cash flows, the shareholder-friendly management, and a set of modest but consistent near-term catalysts. It's more steady than spectacular right now. For the long-term investor, Apple is highly favored by its strong competitive moat, its forward-looking AI and product pipeline, and that continued services expansion.
So the long game looks promising.
Seems that way. In the short term, While volatility is moderate, any significant upside will likely depend on the success of upcoming product launches and potential positive earnings surprises. Ultimately, this raises an important question for you, the listener. What is your own investment horizon and risk tolerance when considering a company like Apple?
Crucial question.
Understanding that alignment is absolutely key before making any decision.
Well said. We've looked at Apple from many angles today, and what's clear is that while it's a dominant force, successful investment always comes down to understanding the details and aligning them with your personal strategy. As Apple continues its journey into AI and new hardware, maybe consider not just what they launch, but how these innovations fundamentally change user behavior and truly expand their ecosystem.
That's a great point, the behavioral impact.
That could be the real long-term game changer, right? Or potentially a significant hurdle if adoption lags behind the hype. Thank you for joining us for this analysis. We hope this has given you a clearer picture of Apple. Don't forget to subscribe, like this discussion, and please leave your thoughts or suggestions for future company analyses in the comments below. Until next time, happy investing.